I want to talk about something that all young men need, but many of us don't have, which is a sense of brotherhood, leadership, mentorship, and overall having the mindset that you need to be providing value to other people. Because, in my opinion, this is what gives you drive, happiness, and a real sense of purpose, while also directly fixing the societal issues that are plaguing young people today. We see it all the time online that young men are struggling. We see these headlines, or you might just see it in your own community where you see a lot of young guys making wrong decisions or having no direction in life. And one of the biggest reasons that they have no direction is because they have no community. They don't have anybody really guiding them towards the right choices that would help them build success, and so they feel no inclination to go and start something for themselves. It's kind of like those guys that stay home all day just playing video games or jacking off because they've basically checked out from real life because they have no connection to people in real life. Even worse than that could be guys that do have a community, but their peers just don't have their best interest in mind. An example of this being with gangs. They give you a sense of brotherhood and respect, as well as protection, which has such a crazy influence on young guys that would cause them to do a bunch of, illegal stuff or even violent things just for this fake honor because they don't have that at home or in their own community. But the truth is, to fix all this stuff, it really does start with me and you, doing our part to build relationships, lead, and as corny as it sounds, spread positivity. All of that is a huge driving force to help the guys that basically don't have an identity for themselves. And in my opinion, you're not just doing it for them. If you yourself want to feel fulfilled in life and you want to grow as a man, I really think you should have an inner desire to help heal other people's pains. To be the one that can lead and have a sense of, be like the sense of stability for some people is super important. And I'm not talking here about being a nice guy. I'm talking about embracing the leader or protector role and specifically having empathy for past you if you have had, certain struggles that you've had to overcome. In my opinion, if you don't have this mindset, I seriously think you need to consider it because not only are you helping other people, but you are healing part of yourself that, had to go through it. And I know this because, if you were anything like me, you kind of had to resort to the internet to learn about things that probably should have been taught to you in real life, like nutrition, the gym, your dating life, or your finances, because you had nobody in your real life to really teach you this stuff, and you didn't really have anybody to go deep into topics related to your goals. But if you have accomplished any of these things, in my opinion, it means that you have the power to help other guys become better versions of themselves and even develop sort of a mentor role for them or even a sort of friendship role. And this can also have benefit to you where, you guys can collaborate on something in the future because you have gone through a similar struggle already. So now you can translate it to something like starting a business, going on a trip, or, having an adventure, a vacation, or learning a new difficult skill together. It'd be so much easier because you already went through a similar struggle. And basically that is what friendship is in a nutshell. You guys are just going through a, similar path. And you can think about this in like school. A lot of your friends came from because you guys took similar classes, or it could be like on a sports team where you guys were all on the team and you had a similar struggle or similar goal. So going back to the online influences, though, I do have something important I want to talk about there. For me, it was really important for me to, turn me into the person I am today, but it also could have ended pretty badly. Because the truth is, when you are young and you are unsure of yourself because really nothing in your life is going the way that you want it to, you don't like how you look, or you just, your dating life isn't going the way that you thought, you are very vulnerable. Because of that, I've taken bad advice quite confidently on the internet and it blew up in my face because even though I consider myself kind of smart, my critical thinking dropped once the emotions of getting rich fast without much effort got involved because I knew it would bring me, somewhere in this world. I've talked about this specific incident before, but essentially what happened is I followed terrible stock picking advice and I lost like tens of thousands of dollars of the money that I earned from a part-time job because there was a guy on YouTube who talked about these stocks, and to me he had this sort of authority because he had a lot of subscribers and he sounded pretty confident in his reasoning. And that's the thing, that's a danger online. It's so easy for somebody to just spin a convincing narrative that makes you stop thinking critically because it plays to the emotions of, what you feel like you're lacking. And when that influencer is like your only source of guidance, then that becomes your only sense of community that you have. and you're way more likely to fall for whatever they tell you and start losing the critical thinking skills that you need. Because, like I said, if you don't have a community or like-minded friends, you're likely to not take difficult action because you can't relate it to, status in your real life. And you kind of just end up coasting because there's no connection in your head to, doing this difficult task like getting healthy, going to the gym, making progress and whatever your goal is. There's no relation for that and an increase in status or self-worth to a community because you have none. So let's go into how you can actually start building aspects of brotherhood, leadership, or mentorship in your life. The first thing that it can start with is with people that are already in your life, like your friends. A lot of the times, you have to be the one to lead, a group of friends or a group of people. You should be the friend or the coworker or even the person in the class who tries to get people that have a similar struggle to go and do something together, like collaborate on a project, or even as simple as just go out and grab like dinner or something like that. You can get everybody to do something more difficult, like exercise together, or plan a trip, or go for a hike, whatever the case is. Basically, it's good to be the person to invite collaboration towards a common goal and kind of bring adventure into people's life because we all need a sense of like new and novel like ideas coming through. And the crazy thing is, knowing that you had this impact on people, like knowing that you had a positive impact for, making somebody's day or something like that, is one of the best feelings in the world, even if it is like a selfish feeling. So for me, an example of that is like I had a friend who, before I got him involved in our basketball group, he basically told me like he had nothing to do on the weekends and he kind of hated the weekends because at least in the weekdays he could go to work. And once I got him to play basketball, which is something that he loved and was pretty good at, honestly, he finally had something to kind of belong to. And then he was able to go and make friends and, have a sense of like community or brotherhood around him, which honestly, I feel really happy that I was able to contribute towards that. Obviously, it's all on him that he did those things. But if I could even play a part to helping somebody's, rest of their life, I think that's just selfishly a really good feeling. And that's why I do think it is very important to embrace the pains that you already overcame in order to kind of be empathetic and use it to help other people. Another way that I did this that you could also emulate is like teaching, right? I taught high school students in the courses that I had already taken. And, you know, up doing that, it was kind of a job for me, but it wasn't just about like grades or, getting them into this university. I really tried to impact their lives in other ways. I took a few of them to the gym. I got them learning about nutrition. I tried to help them find their ikigai, which is basically like your reason for doing stuff, like your kind of purpose in life. Basically, taking the things that you are good at. So somebody is like me, I would be analyzing that, and then ways that they could like monetize it, for example. So even though I was hired to just boost their grades, I still had the feeling and the empathy of knowing that like there's a young guy who could use my help to really set themselves up long term. So I took that opportunity, and I feel super nice about doing it. At the same time, I was able to like monetize it in a sense. And so if you're thinking and you're hearing about all this and you still feel like I'm not ready to mentor anybody, I'm not ready to, take lead in a group, I think that's still okay as long as you acknowledge that, you have to start small and you kind of have to focus now on developing yourself. There's 5 strengths that I really talk about that are super important with this. I have a separate video, but I will go into them now. I'm going to specifically talk about the social strength now, and related to the social strength, I'll go into each of the other ones that I'm talking about. So the first thing is you have to be the person that has social reach and social skills, which starts really by being outside of your house. That is one of the biggest things you need to try and make friends with people that share a similar struggle to you that I've talked about or a similar background. And how do you find these people? You have to be outside of your house, right? Human connection is needed for a fulfilling life and good mental health. So if you're trying to stay home all day and watch videos like this, I'm telling you, you're not going to go anywhere. As much as I'd want you to watch these videos, you're not going to go anywhere. So before that, you have to start getting involved with people in your life already. It could be, your family, it could be your friends, it could be random people in the street. As corny as it sounds, you do have to spread positivity so that you can be the guy that people actually want to hang out with. And then once you go outside naturally, you will attract more people. But for you to, be valuable to these people, the other four strengths I'm going to talk about, I will talk about how you can actually develop those strengths and build a social circle at the same time. So first one we're going to go over is your physical strength. That's, eating nutritious food, being consistent in the gym, having some form of sport. This is super easy to relate to your social circle. If you were consistently going to the gym, you are going to see more people there, people that are probably like-minded to you. And, when it's time to ask for a spot or something, it's just very easy to that to be like a little bit of an introduction. Or if you're playing a sport, you guys are going through a common struggle to beat another team. It's really easy to, find somebody there that also has that same viewpoint as you, and then, you can later on take this outside of just the sport. On top of that, you will be gaining the respect of other people if you have if you start looking better yourself. As brutal as that sounds, like that's what people scan for. So this is a no-brainer in my opinion. It should be the first thing that you start with, just getting into the gym, because that's also going to lead to your mental strength, right? If you purposely do difficult things, you're going to start building your own confidence, and knowing that you have a track record of doing difficult things just makes it way easier when you have to do something difficult again, like, approaching a girl or, making a group of friends with people that you don't know. The next thing after your mental strength is your intellectual strength, and that is kind of having a mindset first of challenging your own beliefs. What somebody tells you or what somebody forces you into, first understand why, that might be good for you or why that might not be good for you, and figure out what actually plays to your strengths, because you're going to be most valuable to a group if you are naturally good at it already, right? If you are super short and you're going to try and play basketball, yeah, go for it. I'm not trying to discourage you, but that might not be the place that you are most valuable. So that doesn't mean like if you have bad genetics, like for the gym, don't go to the gym. That's just something I think that is basic, because it's something that you can improve yourself in, and you're kind of in competition with yourself, and you're just improving your health in general. But do, take time to understand the domain that you would be best in, and you would be best, that plays to your strengths the best, and focus mostly on that. If you need to put in money to get education for that, if you need to, find a tutor, find a mentor, that should be your main priority. Become valuable intellectually in something. And the final thing is, if you can monetize this intellectual strength, or just the strength that you do have, these expertise and this, crystallized knowledge that you do have, you can monetize it and then set yourself up financially. You know, once you set yourself up financially, you have the ability to be a little bit more risk on. This could mean like, do more interesting things, be a more interesting person, go for trips, like sign up for the classes that you want, get whatever education you want, go into groups that you didn't think you could, go out with your friends and not have to worry about, having to pay the bill. Definitely, you don't have to pay the bill for everybody, but I just mean pay your own bill. So financially, you should first spend most of the money on your own education, and then invest the rest of it and try and live below your means. That's how you can get that, risk on aspect that I was talking about. I did go through these four strengths really fast. I do have another video I can link where I go through it a little bit better, more in depth of how do you gain this strength rather than how can you leverage the social side of it. After me saying all this, if you realize that you did make progress in one of these areas, then there you go. That's something that is used to other people, and you can find a way to kind of mentor somebody. It doesn't have to be direct mentorship. What I also mean is just bringing your friends out and people you already know to experience the same, positive effects that you have. If you had a career that you were going into, you can do it with your coworkers, right? Try and build the social skill with your coworkers. Do like knowledge transfer where you need to. That way, you guys as a team can succeed much better. At the same time, you get recognition for being the one to sort of lead other people. If it's at the gym and you see somebody struggling, or somebody's asking you, "Hey, I've always wanted to start the gym," try and be the person that like pushes them to go do these things. Not only are you making their life better, but you get the kind of recognition and you get the positive feeling inside of yourself that you made an impact.